高興見啊，你好高興啊！
有嘅可邊度有得見啊？冇辦法。
好高興啊，係咪？
你100歲啦
103
歲零幾個月。
幾年啦，唔係幾個月啦。
103歲啊
！103歲哇！
幾隻？阿師奶都
返老還童啊！你
係冇屎飯。
啊！保重啊！保重，保重，保重。
哇，挺好。
So, Linda, I'd love for you to tell us about the clip we saw. I know there's a lot of significance for you with both the elder, who's 103,
Yes.
and also the area where you were walking with the banyan trees.
So the village I visited was my maternal grandfather, my gonggong, and I never had the chance to meet him. And so kind of joining Roots was my reason to get to know more about him. And so like when the day of my rooting happened, I went there, I didn't know what to expect. And I pulled a lot of information like through my mom. That's where she's from. She's in the crowd over there. And like during the village visit, I got to see a lot of relatives like I had never met before. Even though this is my second time in China, this is my first time visiting her ancestral village, our ancestral village. And I got to meet a relative that was 103 years old, and she was my great aunt. And also, like I got to, just explore the village and see this courtyard area that had 3 banyan trees that had been there for about 200 years. And my uncle, who had come to the rooting with me, she's my mother's older brother, and he told me, oh, these are the trees that your mom used to play on as a kid. And that was, like, to me, new information. She was very, reserved during the whole, like, research process, didn't share too much with me, but I felt like I learned a lot about her through the rooting. And that was, like, one of the biggest, like, takeaways, and kind of gave me more purpose and more, like, justification for, like, going through it.
What was it like to think, like to envision your mom as a child playing among those trees?
Yeah. So my mother immigrated to the U.S. By herself. She married my dad, who was here at the U.S. And I don't know, my image of her, like growing up, was she was always, working, stressed. And to imagine her as a kid playing on those trees as a child was something new to me. It surprised me that, that she did have, like she has a side to her. And I think we forget, like, that our parents, they were, let me take a while to think about how I want to say this. Okay, I don't have much time. But I guess what I'm really trying to say is, like, being there surrounded by her relatives, because, a lot of them I just met for the first time there, and they were so welcoming to me. And they, a lot of them told me how much they missed her and like how sweet they were to me. I just imagine her like receiving that type of warmth and care when she was a child. So it was, I'm just grateful that she kind of left all of that, came to the U.S. by herself. And I can't imagine like how she was able to just, be here without them.
Yeah. Wow. I also know that our Roots trip was actually just beginning for a very long trip, of which you just returned 3 days ago.
Oh, no,
a few days ago,
a month ago. Back to U.S. soil a month ago.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
So unlike,
what was that? How was that starting?
So the whole Roots trip was actually 2 weeks, but I chose to stay behind for, at first it was initially 3 months. That was and then I found out my ticket was open-ended, so I just kept stretching that on and kind of like finding things along like my trip to sustain me to stay there. And so I ended up staying 8.5 months. I got more connected to my grandmother there, so I still have a lot of maternal relatives there. And so I got to meet a lot of the relatives, stay with my grandma. And one of the like most surprising things that I learned was, so this image you see is actually the village where my grandfather Gongkong was. And you see the scaffolding in the back? So that was what it looks like now. So I went and saw that image maybe in December. And during my reading, that was not what I saw. I actually saw the semi-original house. And to me, it kind of like just showed like, wow, like time is so precious. Like
Because they had started building a new house where
Yeah.
your ancestral house
Yeah.
was a few months ago.
Yeah.
I see.
I remember my aunt, she's the one that's kind of in ownership of it, my aunt and uncle, and they told me they were just gonna like demolish and rebuild it. So for me to just be there at the right time, that was even more like justification to just like go through with the trip, and also like connecting with my relatives there, and just like Roots laying out that bridge for me. I mean, I know that I still had connection just through my mom being here, and like she was able to connect me with them, but just for me to be able to go on my own, and now I even know how to take public transit to get to this village. And my Cantonese improved a lot in the last 8.5 months, and I got to celebrate my grandma's 86th birthday a month ago. Yeah.
Wow. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's really good to have you here.